All right, so starting this just a little bit early, we have the 8 o'clock broadcast coming up. Just thought I'd start it and let people kind of get in here before we get started. I got some really cool ideas and some tips and tricks for the new people that are just starting up their channel. And I think, hey, what's going on, my right to film? Thank you for coming. Good to see you guys. Good citizen, good to see you. And I think when I get done, it's gonna make a lot of sense and what I'm saying, and a lot of this comes from advice that I've gotten over the last couple years between Jeff Gray and EOG Thomas Covenant, rest in peace. Hey, there he is. That's so cool. Good to see you. Um, so basically, for the new people that are just starting out, I wanted to do this video so that you can kind of get a reference for what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. And the first thing I want to bring up is the use of the word okay. Now, as benign as it sounds, and just the word itself, okay, it would seem kind of, you know, just non-harmful. But nothing could be further from the truth. Oh, good citizen. Good. Um, Nothing could be further from the truth. When you're dealing with police officers, they're there to try to get you to waive your rights. Now, I don't want this to be construed as legal advice, okay? Just kind of take this and put it in your mind and employ it when you're out there and doing this, and you'll see a little bit of a difference. But never agree to anything that they say. So, I need you to come over here, okay? Or I need to identify you, okay? They're trying to get you to say, "Oh, okay," and that way that you're showing consent. You don't want to say "okay" under any circumstances when you're talking to officers when they ask you a question. You don't want to answer that as "okay." Don't participate. Exactly. The fishing expeditions is exactly what they are. Don't participate. Okay, that's the first thing you got to remember. So don't agree with them. Don't say yes. Don't say okay. Don't go along with it. Stand for your rights, but be respectful. Maybe humorous too. I'm going to be changing a lot of how I do my thing too, because honestly, you can go at them somewhat aggressive, and I do usually do that, especially when I get detained by corrupt pieces of North Vegas garbage. Anyway, sorry, went off on a tangent there for a minute. I'm back. Anyway, so that's the first thing I wanted to go over with you guys. Humor is a good way to approach this. Okay, so keep that in mind. That a little laugh goes a long way with this, and what we do. And you got to remember that when you're out there and you're doing this, anybody that's ever done this, and especially in the beginning, okay, it's not so much now, but in the beginning, you're gonna get a little bit of an adrenaline kind of a boost, and it's going to be kind of nerve-wracking. You're going to be very nervous, and a lot of people are, and it's okay. You can be. But how you manage it and how you deal with it is how you're going to end up as a civil rights investigator. And I don't like the word auditor. Just to make this clear, I'm not an auditor. I'm a civil rights investigator. And I feel like there's a difference. You can go much deeper, and That's right. Eminem Bowman says, remain silent to any questions not pertaining to the detainment. It doesn't matter what questions they are. Hi, Bill. How are you? It doesn't matter what questions they are. Don't participate. Okay? They're going to try to drag you into it. Things like, and you'll see me counter this every time. You're back here and you're videotaping our entrance and exit. Okay, yes, I am definitely doing that. What part of that is illegal? Is it a misdemeanor or a felony? Well, we find it suspicious. Well, just because you think it's suspicious doesn't make it necessarily suspicious. Because in order for it to be suspicious, it has to have a criminal element to it. And if it's a constitutionally protected activity, then there is no criminal element and it cannot be used for reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. So you'll see me, and I'll use that quite a bit when I'm doing this. When I'll go out and I'll do my audits or my investigations. No, I'm still saying audits. When I go out and I do my investigations, I go out there and I keep that in my mind. I stay on the sidewalk for one thing, okay? Unless it's like a public building that I have access to, I only go into like the lobbies and stuff like that. I keep it real simple, stupid. KISS theory. If I'm doing, say, a government contractor, I will use the sidewalks. And I will not leave the outer perimeter of the sidewalks. And it's really, I think, a smart idea to pull the plats before you go out to a place like that and know exactly where the state and county and city boundaries are. Because those are your public utilities and your public places, your public easement. And just for the record, sidewalk and public easement are one and the same. Okay, the public easement of the side of the road, even if it doesn't have a sidewalk, is still legally, technically considered a sidewalk because you're walking off to the side of commerce. Okay, so it's still considered legally, technically a sidewalk. And some people will argue that point, but anyway, it comes from the old definition of it. But anyway, moving on. So we started off, we know not to say okay, yes, all right, things like that. We know not to say that. Don't answer the questions to begin with. And if you're going to... Do you know why you're being stopped today? Exactly. Yeah, Eminem. When you're asked, why are you being stopped today? Say, listen, you're the one conducting this stop. I'd like to be on my way. I don't consent to this stop. Let them know that, you're not a dummy. You know your rights. And, you don't have to roll your window down all the way. You don't even have to hand it. In some states, you do not have to hand your license. Now, there are some states that do, so make sure you always consult an attorney for proper legal advice because I am not an attorney and nor can I give you legal advice. Nothing that I say should be construed as legal advice. Just kidding. Anyway, so, just that's the one thing that you want to know. You don't want to answer questions. You don't want to engage. Oh man, yeah. You don't ever want to give up your social security number, good citizen. Yeah. Yeah, silence is definitely the best way to do it. Now, if a cop asked me and I knew that he had no legal reason, no lawful reason for pulling me over, I might have said something like, because you're either really attracted to me or because you caught me at your wife's house last night. But that's just me because I'm a wise ass. Anyway, so not answering questions, not saying okay, not agreeing with anything. Those things are very, very important. Okay, so you want to make sure that you keep up with that. I'm glad you guys found that funny too. Um, so anyway, does anybody have any questions for me about getting started, about starting up a new channel? Is there any questions that maybe we could go over? I mean, I've been doing this a couple years. I can probably at least tell you what I would do. Okay, so I got Lindsay Croft says, do you remember when New Jersey cops arrested the lady lawyer purely because she wouldn't answer his question of, do you know why you're being stopped tonight? Yes, I remember that, Lindsay. I do. Slap me and call me Susan, Northern Colorado Auditors. You're funny. I love having you around, bud. But does anybody have any questions about, like, because there's so many different styles of how to do your civil rights investigations. Hey, Nutsack, welcome. So there's so many different styles, so many different ways that you can, GIS property boundaries. Yes, you can pull those from your local tax collector. You can pull what's called the plats on those, and it shows you how many feet from the center of the road to the side of the road does the city own. It'll give you the total amount, and it even, I think most of them are even color coded, so it'll show you like it'll be a certain whatever showing you. Lindsay, how's it hanging? That's funny. But you can pull the plats over at the tax collector's office, and it's public information. Good question, good citizen. I'm not sure if there is an app for it. I would like to find that out. You know what? Maybe that's something I should ask Mr. Hemming. What's up, Northern Colorado? Yeah, let me know if you find something, good citizen. I definitely would be interested in that. Well, then you help me get my my van, and I'll come down and do it for you, Bill. I don't care where it is. I love doing audits, and I really love positive interactions. So especially if it might make your place look your people look good. You never know. Okay, so Unicorn Sparkle Fart. I love that name. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting point. A lot of auditors ask, what crime am I suspected of? And they never make a big enough deal when the cops say, I am conducting an investigation. Well, okay, you're conducting an investigation, but instead of saying, what crime am I suspected of, what crime are you investigating? Okay, and you want to, what you want to do is you want to put them into a corner that says, okay, I am doing this, I am accusing you of this, and if you're, you want to, it's kind of how to gauge whether they have something on you or not, because if they have something on you, you're going into cuffs right away. If they don't, then they're going to stand there and they're going to bark like that little barking chihuahua that lives next door that keeps barking, 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 but has no bite. So that's how I would do it. I'm conducting an investigation. What crime are you investigating me for? Well, you're in suspicious activity. Well, at that point, is suspicious activity a misdemeanor or a felony? I want to know if you're investigating me at this point, then talking to you is stupid because you're investigating me for a crime, and anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. So therefore, why would I bother talking to you when you could have just come out here and said, hey, what's going on? You're out here videotaping. We're just a little curious. It's legal for you to do it. We're not trying to step on your rights or anything, But that's just it, is I've come across those officers that are good like that, and they do respect you when you're out there doing that. And actually, I've come across a few of them in the last couple weeks. Northern Colorado, you're funny. That's why we love you. So, that's just it. It goes back and forth. It's called verbal judo, basically. And if you're going to play verbal judo with them, you better be pretty savvy as to what you're saying and how you're saying it. Because remember, everything that you say, any word that you say, has a special meaning. So even if you didn't intend to say it or mean it in this way, the verbiage that you use could be construed as different ways of what you're saying or what you mean. So it's very important that you, if you're going to play verbal judo with them, that you be pretty savvy in court rulings and laws and things like that. So anyway, so I'm going to be doing another live tonight, guys. But it's going to be for doing a fundraiser. So if you don't want to show up and all that for the fundraiser, I'll understand. But I am doing a video because I do only have a couple months left where I'm living and I got to move. So keep that in mind, guys. But I will be doing that tonight. Does anybody have any more questions about Eastern Pennsylvania Community Watch? Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. So does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over so far tonight? Does anybody want me to go over anything again? Anything at all? Oh, anytime, Bill. Northern Colorado, how do you feel about Johnny 50 getting hung up on so much? It's typical public service from public officials. It's typical service. It's what we've grown to just allow, and it is at this point what it is. Until people get out there and hold these people to the grindstone and hold them accountable, then they're going to continue to do this. Okay, so guys, 808 Bad, awesome question. What suggestion do you have for making first contact? Normally officers come up. Now, you got to remember that we're part of a movement, okay? A First Amendment movement. And we want them to side with us. Okay, so we can go out there and be pricks, or we can go out there and do it undercover, or we can go out there and spread a good word for the movement. It's all up to each individual auditor or investigator, depending on what you consider yourself to be. But it's up to each individual person to utilize their own style and their own techniques to move the movement. Now, what would I want to do? On the initial contact, you guys will notice on most of my videos, I'm smiling, I'm happy. Hi, how are you? I'm out here, and I'm going to be changing some other things up too. I really like Sam Joaquim's thing to this. He's out there pushing the movement, and I like that. So I'd like to incorporate a little bit of that into mine. I like being a bit of a wise ass, so I like my little wise cracks and comments. So Felipe Hemming has been working with me with that. But the first contact, I think you should be probably nice and, hi, how are you? give them either your first two initials or your name or something like that. Shake their hand. Hey, how are you? I'm MJ from Constitutional Corner. I'm out here exercising my First Amendment rights, and that's it. I'm not committing any crimes. I don't really need contact. And that's what I would do. That's how I would handle first contact. The worst officer was that sergeant the other day, because it was the first time in 2 years that I had ever been detained. And it was a quasi-detainment because he went into panic mode within minutes of detaining me. So, oh, you're not detained. Well, that was like 3 minutes later. So I had no plans of going anywhere anyway, so it was kind of a quasi-detainment. I still really haven't been detained or arrested doing what I'm doing because I stay within these guidelines. And that's why I want to get out there and do what I'm doing. Guys, I'm going to end up editing this anyway. So instead of going live again, if you heard me earlier, please dismiss this and don't look at this like begging. But I am looking for some help. And the reason why I'm looking for some help is over the last couple of years, for whatever reason, I've been gone through a lot of homelessness. And I have a very short time right now to get myself somewhere to live. So I'm asking all of my people, my fans, and my subscribers, if you guys could help me. I have almost 6,000 subscribers. If I could get just $1 from each one of my subscribers, I could tour the United States and I could help new channels get started. I really love this movement, and I'm really passionate about this movement. And as you have seen, I have participated in most of the mass audits, and I've participated in the protests. I've traveled the country doing this. And so I'm trying to raise some money. I started a GoFundMe today. So if you guys want to help me out, I'm going to put a GoFundMe up. And I'm trying to save up between $1,500 and $2,500 to get a decent van that I can live in and travel the United States, put a bed, and be somewhat comfortable. So anyway, if you think that that's something that you'd like to help with, I'll put a link down below for GoFundMe. Again, guys, thank you for your support this year. We've had a really big boost and a really cool start to 2018, and I plan on bringing you more quality content. And that's going to continue. If I can get into this van, it'll be every day. So, right now I'm just I'm restrained by transportation is the only reason why I'm not out there every day. So, anyway, guys, any questions about auditing, about investigations, public records requests, laws, anything? Nothing? Oh, I'm going to be out there, Eminem, in Minneapolis when it warms up. Definitely. I want to get up to Littleton and all that. Yeah, and dismissive is a good way to be, Northern Colorado. That's a good technique. I like your videos. I really do. Hey, Huckleberry. So we're talking about doing First Amendment investigations or constitutional investigations. Eastern Pennsylvania, that's a good question. What do you think about having business card with YouTube channel to hand to police, etc.? I would recommend against it because a lot of News Now Houston's problem is that his channel is so popular with law enforcement because they know where he is. So if you want your channel to last, I would say don't tell them what channel you're using, where it is, or what you do. So I would definitely recommend against it. Now, having business cards like that for people like civilians and stuff just walking by. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that. So, your initial contact, okay? The cop comes up to you, "Hey, how you doing?" So you introduce yourself. "Hi, I'm MJ, or I'm Maddie with Constitutional Corner, or, Pinnack News, or Black Coat Media, whichever one, I'm out there for. And I'm out here exercising my First Amendment rights. What's your name and badge number?" You're having contact with me. You want to make sure that you get their name and badge number. So that pretty much right off the bat, and you'll see me do that a lot on my videos. They'll come up, "What are you doing? What's your name and badge number? You're having contact with me. What's your name and badge number first? Don't have contact with me until you give me your name and badge number." You want to get that first. That's an excellent point about getting their names and badge numbers first. Very good point. Come on, guys. What else? Come on, shoot me some questions. Cybertron News? Okay. That's awesome. All right, well, do you guys want to go over anything else? Oh, do you really? You got a tattoo of Optimus? That's cool. Okay, so that's a good question. So, what I found for me to work is when you're talking about 42 USC section 1983, let's pull it up, and let's pull those two up and we'll talk about those. All right. Boy, I wish Felipe Hemming was around. USC 1983. Okay, so it's a little more complicated than that, Northern. Deprivation of rights is 42 USC section 1983. So let's pull that up real quick. Okay? And then I'm going to use this one right here. 1985. Okay. So 42 USC section 1985. And again, this goes to words. Conspiracy versus deprivation. Okay. I don't like this one. We'll go to this one. Okay. So you see part 3. Now you see this is 42 USC section 1985 down in paragraph 3, revised back in 1980. Depriving person or persons of rights or privileges. So this one does deal with 2 or more persons, but it's talking about conspiring. So let's just say that we're doing 1985 right now. Yeah, 3802, and that is the same. But you got to remember that regardless of what the state says, unless your state has seceded from the United States, you're still protected under the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So, regardless of if it's a stop and ID state, anything short of reasonable articulable suspicion, and I'm not going to ID. I don't care where it is. Exactly. You got to know your case law. You got to know the true case law for your area. What do you mean? Does that apply to police also, Huckleberry Auditor? What do you mean by that? And while I'm waiting for that answer, let's go back into 1985. Okay. If two or more persons in any state conspire or go in guise on the highway or premises of another for purposes of depriving either directly or indirectly any person or class of persons of the equal protection of laws or equal privileges, immunities under the laws for purpose of preventing or hindering the constituted authorities in any state territory from giving or securing all persons within that state or territory the equal protection of the laws if two or more persons conspire prevented by force, intimidation, or threat any citizen who is lawfully entitled to vote from giving his support, advocacy, and illegal. That's about voting. That has nothing to do with it. But anyway, it basically, if you go down to the bottom, furtherance of conspiracy whereby is injured or the person properly deprived, having exercised any right or privilege of the United States of a citizen of the United States. The partly so injured or deprived may have an action for the recovery of the damages occasioned by such injury or deprivation against any one or more conspirators. So when you guys see me saying, I'll go up to, say, a cop that is tailing me. Let's say, yes, it does apply to the police. Okay, so if let's just say I just did the nuclear place up in northern Nevada or northern Las Vegas. Okay, and that northern Las Vegas police officer was tailing me everywhere that I went and attempting to intimidate me and show me that, hey, we're out here and you can't just go out there. That's a conspiracy against my rights. And that's intimidation, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. Now let's look over at 1983 really quick. Okay, now remember that in 1983 is the one thing that you use when you're going after immunity. Okay? Every person who is under the color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or territory of the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected any citizen of the United States or person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit, or in equity or judicial capacity. Injunctive relief shall not be granted unless a declaratory decree was violated or declaratory relief was unavailable. For the purposes of this section, any act of Congress applicable exclusively to the District of Columbia shall be considered to be a statute of the District of Columbia. So basically, this is civil action for oh yeah, 14 USC 89. Yep. Or how about this one? 18. Whoops. Let me. 18 USC 96. Here we go. Okay, so you guys want a good one. This is a really good one. And this is one that I believe Doc Justice is using. 18 USC Chapter 96, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations. What do you guys think about that one? That's a pretty good one. Look up the definition. Okay, so the definition, yeah, it's a RICO Act, exactly. Racketeering activity means any act or threat involving murder, kidnapping, gambling, arson, robbery, bribery, extortion, dealing in obscene manner, or dealing in a controlled substance or listed chemical as defined in Section 102 of the Controlled Substance Act, which is chargeable under state law, punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. Any act which is indictable of the following provisions... Rico Suave. And it basically goes into the charging and all that. Let me go down here where it's a better definition. This section right here kind of deals with it a little better. Relating to engaging in monetary transactions and property derived from specified unlawful activity, relating to interstate commerce facilities in the commission of murder for hire, relating to illegal money transmitters. So, any act which is indictable under the Currency or Foreign Transactions Reporting Act. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, do you guys remember not too long ago, they were stopping people on I-10, and if you had, like, over a certain amount of money, they were confiscating it? I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but... Anyway, it was found to be unlawful, and this is why. So, anyway, guys, you guys, what else you want to go over? You guys want to go over anything else? Yeah, they still do hunt money. It's really, really sad that they're doing it too. It's really sad in this day and age. You can't trust police. Stand and deliver. Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, good night, guys. Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to head out myself here. I'm going to be making a video for my other channel. So if you guys know anybody that can help donate towards my GoFundMe for my van, please share it. I'm going to put it on this video when it is done. And I'm very grateful for you guys. Thank you very much for coming out and hanging out. Thanks, guys. Bye. Remember, stay safe, stay free, and always exercise your rights. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I really do. I love you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you.